and Billings constituency. He became the Minister of Tourism with responsibility for the Broadcasting Corporation of the Bahamas. He was also given ministerial responsibility for Bahamas Information Services. During his second term as Minister of Tourism, he oversaw a record-breaking number of arrivals and tourism expenditure and introduced new airlift services from JetBlue, Spirit, WestJet, and Virgin Airlines. He also is responsible for introducing sports, religious, and African American tourism. Please join me in welcoming to the podium Honorable O.B. Wilson, who will say what Robin and he has to say.
Thank you very much. It's been a good night so far. Let's hear it for the panelists here. Whether we know it or not, we've been a part of a revolution. Whether we accept it or not, we've been a part of a revolution that's gone from stage to stage. From the quiet revolution to the social revolution. And Sir Lyndon told us before he passed on that the same way we set a date for the political and social revolution, we have to set a date for an economic revolution. And that is what Robin's talking about. Because that is why we are where we are. Truth is, every single person in this room, every single Governor General in this country, past and present, every single Prime Minister, past and present, every minister, particularly ascended to the offices had not came together. They came together, they formed a body that would see women getting the right to vote and also calling for men to get the right to vote too at a particular age. They played an incredible role. But how is that possible for us to understand or even appreciate? When you look at the fact that in today's Bahamas, the question is, do women get equal opportunity? The question that we must ask ourselves is, how do we accept what happened to Darnell Osborne just recently? It doesn't matter that she doesn't support the PLP, but she's a woman. And she was given a position as chairman of the Bahamas Power and Light, and then told that she was fired. And then disgraced by being told that she is being fired because she wanted to get expensive makeup. An insult to the suffragette movement in my view. An insult to women in my view. Because it had nothing to do with that. It had to do with the simple fact that they made a political decision for something they wanted to do. But is that not how we allow women to be treated? Does that not send a wrong message, given the fact that every step of the journey to majority rule is fundamentally important? The role played by women should never be considered second class. And women should not have to struggle to be included in the consideration for parliamentary representation. And they should not have a difficulty serving as ministers, as we've seen, and if they become chairman of boards and representative of the people. And so when we look at what's happening now, and I believe the difficulty we face in the Bahamas is that those who lead us today don't have an appreciation of the journey that we've traveled. They don't understand at all the steps that were taken. And so therefore they will do things not understanding that how does it impact the journey? How does it impact the movement? How does it impact our nation? She spoke about education. When Sir Lyndon Pinland and the members of his team went to the United Nations decolonization to talk about the Bahamas and independence, and the Bahamas getting the right to vote, and the Bahamian people have an equal opportunity. There were only three issues: plural vote, the fact that we wanted to have equal opportunity, The second was education. And the third was trade unionism. And the problem at the time, as Robin so rightly explained, the unions didn't have the option. Came from the islands and you took the tests, only took several people. So you never got the opportunity to get to the government high school. You couldn't get there. And so education was fundamentally important, but the question today is, she asked the right question. What's happened to education? A grade D main average? Are we serious about that? An acceptable level of education in our country, but not acceptable in the world standards? Let's remember this. That's why we have to, the inheritors of the movement, we have a responsibility. We have to carry the movement on. And the problem is, if we don't understand the movement, or understand all the steps, and the role that must be taken to carry it forward, then the whole organization is dead. The movement is dead. The founding fathers, all that they fought for. And they left the blueprint. Education has suffered tremendously. Look at what we did this week right here in Grand Bahama with the bus contracts. Whether we believe it or not, it hurts the children. But who cares? We're worried about the bus contracts, and we listen to the politicians create all sorts of lies about it. And it's fine. But there was a time when children had to walk thousands of miles to get where they have to go, all over the Bahamas. And now we put in place a system that's being abused for political reasons. Again, make it a step backward as opposed to a step forward. Everything we do reflects on today and the mistakes we're making today as compared to yesterday. We wanted to get beyond this. And we're right back to where we started. Our educational system is not where it ought to be today. It's not what was envisioned by the leaders of our country. And no one can tell me that we cannot do better in education, because if you look at the schools in Long Island or in South Andres, you look at their grades and their marks, you wonder, well, what's the difference here? Question is, are we demanding better? Question is, are we expecting better? The question is, if we don't cause it to be better, then the arguments presented by those who never wanted to see change will persist. They will say that we must bring in people from elsewhere because maybe people can't handle it. So we lose ground. Trade unionism. Why was that important? Most of the businesses at the time were owned by the UBP. And they owned the businesses, and you could form a body, but you couldn't have an umbrella union. And so when the Progressive Liberal Party was fighting for unionism, the bodies to work together, and we had the general strike, it was a statement of power. It was a statement that told us all that if we hang together, if we stick together, if we fight together, we can achieve together. And last year when we had the celebration, the anniversary, the 60th anniversary, I was so surprised that we didn't jump up and celebrate the fact that the trade union movement is fundamentally important to where we've come as a people. And we tend to forget that during the general strike, that led and opened the doors to everything else that happened in our country. Because the general strike of 1958, the same month, 1958, led to all sorts of changes in our country. And so trade unionism must be a part of what we believe in. Must be a part of what we believe in. So when the Prime Minister is asked about a next general strike, he says, well, I got to work with the Saxons in it. And he calls us to lose. Saxon. But the truth is, that's what he said. Never stopping to appreciate the role of trade unionism in the Bahamas. Look at Michael Scott, who's in Grand Bahama right now. Corporation. When the union spoke to him about payments for the employees at the Grand Lucayan, what did he say? Take it or leave it. Again, we're forgetting the steps. We're not appreciating all these steps that were taken to get to majority rule and all the players that were involved. And the trade union movement was fundamentally important. Here in Grand Bahama was incredibly amazing. We believe that Grand Bahama was not a part of the movement for majority rule. But we got to remember this, in 1955, August 4th, 55, the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement was signed. They gave 150 acres of land for $2.80 an acre. They took homes out of Pine Ridge and put them on the back of trucks and took them into 8 Mile Rocks. And those wretched settlements, as they were called, were not to have electricity, not to have running water, not to have any sanitation. We were removed from this area because we weren't supposed to be a part of this area. This is for the elite. And we have to remember that during that time, from 55 to 63, lots of things took place here in Freeport. Lots of things took place here in Freeport. The first city of Freeport was built because the first city was actually Marco City in Freeport, named after the Marine Construction Company, very first one. The first casino came in Freeport. Casino was here before Nassau, you know. But forgetting these things, it's important because you'll then understand why they thought that they were above everybody else. The Monte Carlo Casino was at the Lucayan Hotel. The things that they allowed and did not allow was for us to be a part of it. They brought in workers to work at Kingston and everywhere else. And so Lyndon and others had to come here and stand up and break down buildings when they had to, and protest when they had to. You can drive on the streets of Freeport if you're a taxi driver. Ask Preacher Hall, who lives today still in Pinedale. He was arrested, so Lyndon and him and others were sitting in the jailhouse because they were standing up for what was wrong at the time. When Dr. Darwell, my colleague and friend, pushed for and worked with and caused the government to put the causeway that they can't seem to finish, there's a fundamental position I have about that. That causeway represents a new day. Because that was where you could not go, where you had to be beyond when it got dark. The Fishing Hole Road. You couldn't be there. You had to return to your village. Because I just wanted that removed, because I thought, listen, symbolically it's the Progressive Party making that change. The rules and the regulations that they put in place, the tax breaks for Freeport, we didn't have those in East and West. Now we got those in East and West. Thank you, Dr. Darwell. And so whilst we weren't talking about it, the truth is it was a part of what we were doing to change the things that have been in place for all these years. So we say 67, it was all over. No, it's not over. Look what happened in Parliament just recently, the Commercial Enterprise Bill. Well, I brought with me tonight a document from 1970 that got rid of the Commercial Enterprise Bill. That got rid of the bill because it was introduced here for Grand Bahama. All the things that are in the bill now about an individual coming here to work and don't have to apply to immigration. So Lyndon Pillion issued a statement in 1970, and he said, listen, man, right? Not in our country. When you come to our country, you have to do these things correctly. This is what he said then. Further, and this cannot be too strongly emphasized, arising from the government's responsibility for security, it must be realized that the fact that a non-Bahamian has purchased a licensed business does not automatically give that person the right to engage in gainful occupation in the Bahamas. We just gave him the right the other day in the Parliament. What you're not appreciating here is that whilst we are sleeping, there are those individuals who were of the UBP heritage who are still awake. And you don't understand that whilst we are sitting thinking that everything is cool, no, they're trying to get back what they think they lost. We gave a member of parliament, a minister of the government, the other day in the parliament, the right to open and run the post office. Well, that's not what the law says, because on this day, when it's a Lyndon destination on the first day of January 1973, that's his speech here, and he addressed the nation about all the things that were discussed at the Constitutional Conference. This is what he said. What disqualifies you? He says, listen, disqualification from membership of Senate and House of Assembly. No person will be qualified to remain a senator or a member of the House of Assembly if he knowingly becomes interested in any government contract, unless he has disclosed such interest to the Senate or the House of Assembly respectively and has been exempted from disqualification by the Senate or the House. Not the majority. It's by the whole House and the whole Senate. Well, look what we just did the other day. Branson laid out the thing, and it's all right. You understand what I'm saying? What I'm telling you is, I'm trying to get you to understand this. The movement is not over. The movement has not ended. And we keep believing that, okay, 67 and that's it. No, we've gone to sleep. Winning the general elections is only to carry on the work of the movement. It is to complete what was written, what was envisioned by those who founded the PLP, those young men who were fighting at the time, giving everything, getting arrested for little or nothing. Dame Doris Johnson lost her scholarship because the UBP took it from her because she was at the university at the time. They gave to get for us. And when we sit back idly, what we're not appreciating is they're not sitting back idly. When we're sitting back believing that, okay, we've achieved everything, no, we've not. Majority rule is still relevant today. We are the majority, but are we ruling? We talked about the dreams and aspirations, but how is it possible then for the Minister of Health to tell the young children, forget learning but being a physician? How could you say we're reducing the number of children going to the University of the West Indies? We're not going to give as many scholarships. Is he not taking away the dreams and the aspirations? A part of the accomplishment of majority rule was to dream, to wish to be, to fight for. But he just said it the other day in Parliament, they were reducing the numbers. He just said that. In other words, we're going to control the number of doctors now. We don't want too many of y'all no more. And the dentistry, oh my gosh. They said they're going to just drop out of the program. Now, could you imagine this? But these are the things we fought for. These are the things we fought for. And I'm sitting back trying to figure out, when are we going to fight again? When are we going to raise our voices again? When are we going to stand again? Because the big mistake we might be making is we can celebrate this day every year, and what happens for the rest of the year? We can talk about this stuff all the time, but then what's next? What are we going to do? The fulfillment of the movement is to continue it. Is to make things happen. When you see a Brent Simonet return to politics, he's the son of Roland Simonet. And the other day, the man who depressed us, oppressed us, who said we are lazy, black people are lazy, we named him a national hero. He just told us in your face, majority rule. understand what I'm trying to say here. I celebrate majority rule every day. But majority rule must be celebrated by our thought, our word, our actions, by what we do, by educating our people, by talking to our people, by changing what exists, by understanding that this game is not over. We do not own this economy. There are 40,000 Bahamians living below the poverty line. 40,000 Bahamians. 40,000 Bahamians living below the poverty line. That's majority rule. Our job is to constantly work for the change. Our job is to constantly fight for change. We have to look at the paradigm every day. We have to adjust when we must. And we have to make the changes. We must have the will to do it and determination to do it. All that my brothers and sisters spoke of here this evening is really what it's all about. But it cannot be one night. It cannot be one session. It cannot be one symposium. We have to literally fight again. Because if we fail to do so, all that we've achieved will be lost. If we fail to do so, the dominant power that managed us all these many years will dominate and manage us one more time. And we will, as Robin said, we will be trying to catch up. Because it is not for us to even imagine that they want to concede power. In a democracy, no one concedes power. This symposium is those of us who believe in and understand deeply why we are part of an organization. Those who are not a part of this organization should become a part of the organization. Because our organization stands for something. We didn't become an organization because we were vexed with Lyndon Billing or vexed with somebody. This organization was founded by white Bahamian men who saw the depression and oppression of our people. So Lyndon Billing became leader. Randall Fox and others were part of this. They led a labor movement. And they brought our people together. And that is what we have been a part of. It's been to see young people achieve. It's been to see women achieve. It's been to see men achieve, unions achieve. It's been to see all of us achieve. And if we work together, then majority rule will continuously be defined. And its meaning will be that much more. And all of us will be celebrating it, as opposed to be sitting down and thinking about what we have not done to enhance it.